everybody, Y here with the WIP and I have another group of questions for you. But I wanted to let you know that, just to reiterate, that I've not read any of these questions. So some of them are kind of weird to me, just because I'm not in the know of very current things. But it's been a lot of fun. So I hope you've enjoyed them. And here we go. Let's move you down to my work in progress and let's get moving. Also want to tell you that I'm using a different camera setup today. So it might look a little different to you. It is a little different, but let's see how this works. So let's get to it. All right, guys, we're back and I'm going to continue to work on this work in progress. Because I just want to get it done because I'm just not enjoying it. So it's one of those, I just want to finish it, get it done, and then move on to the next one. But if it weren't for the fact that I'm doing the comparison of the two, I probably would not have finished this one because it just is awful, to say the worst, to say the least. It's just awful. I don't know if you can see in my videos here, but it is just awful. There are rivers in it. It's just a mess. Also, it's really hard because I have to look up the symbol over here on the side here. I have to look up the symbol to find out what number it is. So, there's so many reasons why I don't like this one. So, I need 28. So, anyways, let's start with the questions. If you were arrested, what would it be for? What would it be for? Okay. Okay, so I am very introverted. Until you get to know me, and then you probably can't get me to shut up. But that being said, I'm very introverted, but I can get very animated about things that I'm passionate about. So if I was going to be arrested, it would probably be for my mouth, for saying something I shouldn't have said at a time when I said it. If that makes sense. I'm not a criminal, so it wouldn't be for anything criminal. It would just be that my mouth got the best of me. So, yes, this coming from an introvert is kind of weird, right? So, yeah, I don't think that it would be for anything criminal because I'm just not criminal. Brutally honest, yes. Criminal, no. All right. What celebrity is your nemesis? Okay, I don't really have a nemesis, but I would have to say, because I really, and it's a fictional character, not a real life person. I don't have any nemesises. Nemesi? How does that work? Nemesises or nemesi or whatever. But if I was going to go fictional, it would be Maleficent. First of all, my favorite villain would be Ursula, followed by the evil queen. So yeah, I would have to say Maleficent would be my fictional nemesis. I don't have any real... Oh, I can tell you the other celebrity that I am not a fan of. I don't know, would be Gwen Stefani. I don't know why I don't care for her. I just don't care for her. Not one little iota. I don't know if that makes her a nemesis, but there are few people that I just don't care for, and she is one of them. So it would be Gwen Stefani and Maleficent. Yeah, that's what I would go with. What cartoon character do you relate to the most and why? Cartoon character. Now, funny story, I have never been into cartoons. I've always been, I never could do scary or suspenseful or anything like that. But growing up, I had brothers and sisters who wanted to watch cartoons. So I used to get scared watching Scooby-Doo. But I will say that my character that I relate to the most, I don't remember his name. Shaggy. Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. And the reason why I say Shaggy is because he used to get so scared and run from anything that was suspenseful or dangerous or scary. And that's me. I run the other way whenever somebody says, oh yeah, we're going to watch scary movies. Nope, not doing it. I remember years ago when Breaking Bad first came out, we started watching it and I loved it. I love Bryan Cranston. So, yeah, we were so excited about it. And then we started watching it and I would get so anxious that I would grab this, sitting on the couch, I would like make my knuckles turn white grabbing the couch cushions. And my husband finally said, nope, we can't do this. We cannot watch this anymore. Like I just can't do that kind of suspenseful anything anymore. Well, I never could do it before, but you know, I watched movies like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage and Face Off. You know, I've watched these movies and I'm okay with those, or was anyways. My favorite genre to watch is true crime. Like, how much more suspenseful can that be? I don't know. It is just weird. But I wasn't able to watch Breaking Bad. So I would say the cartoon character that I can most relate to would be Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo cartoons. And only because he's a fraidy cat like me. And which Hogwarts house do you belong to? You know what? I have not seen a single Harry Potter movie. As many times as we've been to Florida, I've never been to Universal Orlando. I've only been to in the Disney bubble. So I really don't know. I have no idea. I know that there are quizzes out there that you can take to see which house you're in, but does it really matter if you've never seen a movie? Now, we had the movies for the kids, and the kids watched them, and I've probably seen bits and pieces of every one of them, but I've never like made it my goal to sit down and watch a Harry Potter movie or read a Harry Potter book. So there's that. I mean, people are going to think, oh my gosh, she's so boring because she doesn't do anything. Yeah, not my thing, people, not my thing. Sorry, I did not mean to move my canvas. So let's see, what's next? Did you ever get in trouble at school as a teen? And if so, for what? I did get in trouble as a teenager because the one and only time that I ever skipped school, I got caught. And so I had to go to detention and I had to deal with my parents. And yeah, I was a good student for the most part. I got my work done. I didn't graduate valedictorian, but you know, I did what I had to do and it worked for me. But yeah, I did skip school one time and I got caught. Of all the things to get caught skipping school, 6. You're granted 3 wishes. What are they? And you can't ask for more wishes. Okay, so my second favorite movie is Aladdin. And every time I watch it, I think about what would my 3 wishes be? And every time I just can't think of, like, I wouldn't wish for anything that was totally undoable. Like you couldn't wish for world peace, because, I mean, you could wish for it all day long, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Because that would be my first thought would be, oh, world peace or world kindness. Right now, my wish would be that my back is better. My second wish would be that I could run again. And my third wish would be to have my entire family in the same house without any issues at Christmas. Yeah, those would be my three wishes, I guess. That wasn't so difficult. I guess it helps that, my back is messed up and I'm not able to run. So there's that. But yeah, that would be my wishes right there. That my back would be better without surgery. That I would be able to run again. And to have all of my kids and their significant others in the house for Christmas with no issues. Yeah, that would be so cool, but I just don't see that happening. Anyways, so let's move on to the next one. My family is fractured. It's been fractured for generations and generations, and it just seems to repeat itself because as history does, it repeats itself. And if it's not one thing, it's another. And oh my goodness, I just wish we could just put it all away just for one day so that we could all have a good time for Christmas. All right. What's your dream proposal scenario? All right. Well, fun fact about me is my husband never proposed to me. We just talked about, let's get married, and that's what we did. So, yeah, there was no proposal. So I guess my favorite place in the whole wide world, which is Disney, would be a proposal in front of Cinderella Castle and to be able to get pictures without other people in them. That would have been amazing. However, we weren't going to Disney back then, but that would be, yeah, to be able to get pictures in front of the castle without other people in them for your proposal pictures would be super, super cool. If you could do any track and field event, what would it be? Okay, so here's another fun fact about me. I did run track in junior high, not in high school. And I did the 50 and 100 dashes. But now I would go for a distance. Probably, I don't know. I've never done a marathon, but I have done 2 half marathons. So I guess I would go the half marathon. I think I like the longer distances. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I don't know where that came from. I am sitting up here and I am freezing. But yeah, I would go the for a distance, probably the half marathon distance. Yeah, that's what I would do. I don't know if they have that in as a track and field, cross country, whatever, but that's what it would be. I sure love running. I sure miss it. I wasn't any good at it. I was slow. But I've always been a plus size runner. So, you know, I've always been slow. And I'm old, so I'm okay with that. Just moving is, being involved in a race event is just more than you can imagine. Like, before I started actually running the races, I would volunteer for some of the popular ones here in the Richmond RVA area. And I would volunteer, and I would be the best place to be as a volunteer if you are wanting to get into running is the finish line. To see people reach a goal, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And so what I like the most about it is when I gave out bibs one year, and they come in and they're dressed in their suits and ties and uniforms, you know, because we had police officers and, oh wow, I'm missing a bag of drills. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, there it is. 25, 24, 23. Okay. So they come in uniform and stuff to pick up their packets. And then on race day, everybody looks the same. So I think the best part about running, is people, you get people from all walks of life. It's kind of like being at Disney too. And when you're at a race, they're all dressed the same, and they're all going for the same goal, and it doesn't matter what economic category you come from, or you know, it doesn't matter that your race or your age or your color or nothing matters. Everybody's there to run their best race, and it's just amazing. And it's kind of similar at Disney, which might also work to the fact that it is my favorite place in the whole wide world, is everybody's there to be a kid again. It doesn't matter if you were a doctor or a lawyer or a judge or a McDonald's worker. It doesn't matter. Everybody is the same at Disney. Everybody is there for one thing. They're there to have a good time. They're there to unleash their childhood. So it's the same thing with racing. Everybody's there for the same reason, to run a race, run their best race. So not everybody's going to win. It's not about winning, unless you're an elite runner, then it's all about winning. But for 99% of the racers, it's not about winning the race. It's about bettering your race. So to me, that's amazing. 9, 10, 11. So yeah, it would be track and field. For track and field, it would be a distance, a run, 10K or better. And what's the worst television reboot so far? You know, when the world shut down, we got rid of television. So we don't have cable. We don't have we don't watch TV at all. We don't even have local channels. We watch some Antenna TV, the Antenna TV channel, and we watch a lot of YouTube. So if you are a creator that I follow, I am watching you on YouTube. I'm not always commenting. In fact, I rarely comment. And if I'm watching on TV, I rarely like. I just am one of your view counts. because if I subscribe to you, I am probably watching you, but more in the lurker capacity than in the active in your chat kind of capacity. And that's just who I am. But I would have to say the worst reboots are some of these game shows, like take Match Game. They've had so many different hosts for Match Game. Nobody does Match Game better than Richard Dawson. I am so sorry. So I would have to say it would be a game show, because I don't watch enough of the television to know what's out there now. So I would go with game shows. Yes, most definitely game shows. What was your most embarrassing moment from wearing braces? Okay, I wore braces. I didn't really have any embarrassing moments because I didn't get my braces until I was 40. So I was told by the dentist at 40 that if I didn't straighten my bottom teeth, my top teeth have always been straight and very nice. But I was told if I didn't straighten the bottom teeth that I would end up losing them and have dentures. So my goal is to die with my own teeth in my mouth. So I went and got braces, which required me to get a second job because I didn't want the cost of my braces to come out of our household budget. So I went and was a pharmacy technician for a couple of years so that I could pay for my braces. So probably the most embarrassing thing is just being 40 years old and having braces. It's just not something you see. Most people get braces when they're in junior high and high school, and I didn't need them then. I didn't need them until I was 40. So there's that. So number 5 is number 5. Yeah, no embarrassing, I was very diligent about not eating what I wasn't supposed to eat, not doing what I wasn't supposed to do. So I didn't have any break. I didn't have any moments of tons of food in my mouth. I just didn't have all of that because I was 40, and I think you do things differently when you're older, because now you're paying for it and you're going to do what you have to do to do this, get out of it, and as unscathed as possible. I did have to get the braces put back on after they were taken off, because they took them off one day and they said, and they took my molds, and so I came back the following week for my retainer and it didn't fit. Teeth had already moved. So they had to put the braces back on me, and I wore them for another 6 months. And then they, the day they took them off, they put a wire behind my bottom teeth. So I still have a wire. I'll have it for the rest of my life, because if they take it off, my teeth will move. It's so crazy. And that might have been because I didn't get braces until I was 40. I don't know. I don't know. Or it could be that they were just so crooked. They were so crooked, my bottom teeth. But my top teeth were perfect. So, yeah, it was kind of weird growing up like that. It was kind of weird. Anyways, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? My superpower would be, what would my superpower be? That I could survive without sleep. Yeah, that's it. I always try to cram so much into a day that I just can't. I just can't. So mine would be that I wouldn't need sleep. if that could be a superpower. Otherwise, it would be that I could read minds. Anyways, what is your biggest dating app disaster? Okay, I talked about this a couple, maybe in the last video or the one before that, and that was where I met somebody, blind date from a dating app, that looked like my dad. Not age-wise, he resembled my dad, and that was my one and only dating app disaster was, yeah, meeting somebody out for dinner, and I had seen his picture before we went, but he did not look like the picture he sent me. So, yeah, that was a long time ago, though. It was like at the beginning of dating apps, the beginning of the full-blown World Wide Web. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Long time ago. Anyways, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Oh my goodness. That's almost as bad as do you want feet for hands or hands for feet? I would go with one. One versus 100? Yes, I would go for one, regardless of what it is. I'm not a fighter, but one. All right. And which color should I dye my hair? That's a silly question. I don't dye my hair. I used to. I dyed my hair for 20 years, so I didn't realize how gray I was until I cut all my hair off and let it grow. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's really gray. But I like my gray hair. I'm unlike some people who are like, oh, I don't want to look old. I don't want to look old. Well, first of all, I am old. So trying to not look old is probably sillier than just letting myself look old. I am old. I'm old and set in my ways. And, but if I were to dye my hair, it would be a natural color and not a pink or a purple or, you know, the crazy colors that people are dyeing their hair these days. I do remember when we were still living in North Carolina, we were living in Raleigh, I went to a job agency for an interview, and the lady who interviewed me was very professional and had very purple hair, but it was really short and it looked really good on her. Yeah, I could never get away with it. My youngest daughter, wow, that was loud. My youngest daughter, she has had pink hair and blue hair, and she could get away with it, but I just, nope, can't do it. Which movie or TV show do you quote most often? I'm not your average movie TV buff because I just don't watch TV, and we don't go to the movies. We don't, I mean, I can never rack up enough points at Regal because they expire before I go to the movies again. And yeah, we're just not moviegoers. We're not. So there are two, there's a YouTuber that I watch, and I don't remember his name, but oh my gosh, I will watch him all the time. He's out in Las Vegas, and he does a lot of, like, casino videos. And he always says jerk-a-face when things don't work out for him. So now that's one of my favorite sayings, jerk-a-face. So when somebody cuts me off in the car now, I don't cuss. I just say, you jerk-a-face. And I think it's funny. So jerk-a-face is my new thing. And then the other one is Pretty Woman. And my husband and I, on our anniversary, have watched the same movie for the last 24 years. and that is Bloodsport. So we get some good references out of Bloodsport as well. But anything new, you know, because I know people would say, oh, The Office or Big Bang Theory. Well, I didn't watch any of those. So, yeah, it would be OG and a YouTuber. Yeah, how about that? A YouTuber. So, what's the lowest test score you've ever received? The lowest test score would probably be failing. Like, I'm sure in my lifetime I have failed a test. But I'm the type of person that will just beat myself up over it. Like, just totally beat myself up. I also went to college late in life. Like, I went to college right out of high school, but when the job market opened up, I went to work. So I didn't go back to college until I was in my late 40s. And I did it because, I mean, I had a decent career, but I did it because I couldn't talk my children into going to college if I myself hadn't gone to college. So that was my goal, was to get my kids to go to college, and I didn't want them to say, well, look at you, Mom, you didn't go to college. Oops, sorry about that. And you're doing just fine. Well, I didn't want to hear that. So I went to college, and I graduated with a very high GPA. And it started out, I just wanted to finish the associate's degree that I started back in the 80s. And so I did that, and then but I enjoyed it so much, so I stuck around and I did my associates, and then I continued to do my master's, my MBA. So my little let's get my kids to go to college turned into 3 degrees for me. So when I graduated with my associate's degree, I graduated with my oldest child, who also got her associate's degree. When I got my bachelor's degree, I graduated with my middle child, who was graduating high school that same year. And then when I got my master's degree, my youngest was graduating high school. So I graduated all 3 of my degrees with one of my children. Well, it turns out the only one of my children who opted to go to college was the one that I graduated with. So the 2 youngest are not college. Well, I take that back. The youngest did end up going to college, but she did it later, and she is lacking like a class or 2 from graduating. And I'm like, why don't you do it? And she's done. She says she's done. So there's that. But I know that when I was in college, I failed a class. I failed an algebra class, and it tore me up. Like, I was, I had a really high GPA, even with the failed class. So I had to get and take the class over again, and I hated that. I hated that I had to pay to take a class over. I hated that I failed something. Like, it just wasn't, it's not in my DNA to fail. And yeah, it was the worst thing in the whole wide world. And my kids were like, Mom, you are working so hard. Because I worked full-time and went to school full-time. It was crazy time of life, that's for sure. But yeah, failing is not a good feeling for me. So there's that. Would you time travel to the past or the future? Okay, so I've been to the past already. Been there, done that. have a lot of battle wounds to show for it. So I would not go back. And I don't know that I'd even want to go forward, though, because, well, first of all, I'm a Christian, so I know that what's in store in the future. But it would be nice to be able to see your family, to see how your family played out, like to see if there were any grandkids or great grandkids that were born after you were already gone. I would love to see the future. I wouldn't want to see it to make any corrections to it, because the story's already written. Everything happens for a reason, and this is my belief. This is not, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm speaking in my belief. Everything happens for a reason, and there's you can't tempt fate. So yeah, I would go forward and just get a look at what forward is going to look like. I think it's going to look a lot different than what I'm used to. But it would be neat to go forward. I've been backward, and I've been hurt so bad in my past that I would never, ever want to go back and relive the things I went through, ever. So there's no option there. It would have to be future. If money didn't matter, what job would you have? Oh, well, I have the job I have. I am not motivated by money. Don't get me wrong. Money's nice. Everybody likes money. But I'm not motivated by money. So the positions that I have taken in my career have been for my career, to help people. It's not been about money. I have never made a lot of money. I've never been the breadwinner in the family. Because my positions have taken me to places that needed my help. Like, go in and fix their systems, and fix their books, and fix their, whatever put them in the position that they're in, and then be able to package it all up nice and neat and hand it to somebody else and move on to the next job. That's kind of what I've been doing. Most of it's been with nonprofits. So there just isn't a lot of money. Just not a lot of money. It's more about the job, and being happy with what I'm doing, rather than the amount of money that I'm making doing it. I know that sounds weird to a lot of people, because it's just not about money. So, what's the biggest risk you've ever taken? The biggest risk I've ever taken is really personal. I was in a very unhappy, controlled environment when I was married at one point in my life. And I needed to get out. It was, it felt like I was a kid again. Yeah, it was just not a good fit for me. And I had to leave my kids behind in order to go. It was a risk that I took, knowing that at the time when I made the decision, I knew that my husband at the time would not be able to take care of the kids and his job all at the same time. So I knew I would end up with the kids. Well, somebody didn't understand what I was doing and stepped in and took care of the kids, and I ended up with the raw end of that stick. Anyway, so I left my children who were not in any harm, behind and moved on with my life. Yeah, that was probably the biggest risk I ever took, ever, in my whole life, was leaving my kids behind for happiness. But, I mean, I love my kids. I would, you know, I loved them from the day they were conceived. I love my kids, and I was not going to put them through the fight that their dad was going to require if I were to take them with me. So it was more for their protection than it was for anything. But that was the biggest risk I ever took. And I regretted it for a very long, not the leaving, but leaving the kids for a very long time. And I beat myself up over it. But the kids were happy. They, you know, they lived in the same place. They went to the same schools. And I moved around a little bit after I left because, you know, as I just said, I didn't make a whole lot of money. So you have to do what you have to do. But that was probably the biggest risk I ever made, was leaving the kids behind. Now, I was a good child support paying parent, and I saw my kids on a regular basis. So it wasn't like I walked out and left them forever. I just couldn't live in the same house with their father. That's all. No problems. We both, their father and I both moved on to relationships that better suited us. And we are civil, and everything is fine. The kids are fine. Yeah, everything worked out. But yeah, that was a risk that I took. And I can't believe I just shared this on YouTube, of all places. Anyways, let's move on. Is there anything about you that people are surprised to learn? People are very surprised to learn that I am an introvert. Very, very much so an introvert. Very much so. But you wouldn't know it, because if I can get myself into familiar surroundings or familiar people, then I am the life of the party, bubbly. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I suffer from severe anxiety, and part of that is social anxiety. So there's that. The other thing, and I think everybody already knows, is that, whoops, I am a huge Disney fan. But I think everybody here knows that already. So, the next one. If you could pick a day to relive again and again, which would it be? I would relive my wedding over and over and over. My wedding to my now husband. Because I was an adult then, I knew what I was doing, and it was right. We've been together 24 years. Yeah, I would relive my wedding day over and over and over. The other one that I would relive again was the second time I'd ever been to Disney. It was 25 years after the first time I'd ever been to Disney. And it was the most incredible, amazing day ever. Yeah, yes. The first time you walk into Magic Kingdom and see fireworks and they make you cry. I mean, yes, that is worth reliving over and over and over. Either the first time I went and saw these things, or the first time my daughter went and saw these things. Yes, I would relive that over and over and over. Okay, the next one, truth or dare? Well, I am brutally honest, so I would have to go truth. Truth always. The truth always prevails. Not much of a dare person. Again, it's that not knowing element. kind of like watching a scary movie. So yes, truth, most definitely. And yes, I'm brutally honest anyways. So, all right. What is the worst job you've ever had? Oh my goodness. The worst job I have ever had was my second job ever. And I had just had my daughter. So we're talking about, you know, a long time ago. And it was a job working for a fulfillment center. So it would be like kind of like an Amazon, but it was a Christian book company. And so you got these at the beginning, you walked in and you got a shopping cart and you got an invoice, and you just walked up and down the aisles filling these orders. And they were in numerical, all of the products were in numerical order. It was the most boring job I've ever done in my entire life. Absolutely. And my daughter was only about 8 weeks old. So I had to leave my child and go and walk all these miles with a shopping cart. Yeah, it was awful. I didn't stay there long just because it wasn't for me. It was not for me. It was, yeah, kind of a crazy. All right, what's the first thing you notice about someone after you first meet them? Okay, this is going to sound really weird, but I am a smile person. So the first thing that I'm going to notice about anybody is their smile. 26. I think that you can tell a lot about somebody by their teeth. People who take care of their teeth, people who don't take care of their teeth. I'm a huge fan of pretty smiles, i.e. teeth. I have thousands and thousands and probably tens of thousands of dollars in my mouth, in my teeth. Because like I said earlier, my goal is to die with my own teeth in my mouth. And I have worked really hard to make that be a reality. So yes, it is definitely teeth. Teeth, the smile. Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's another one. This is the last question of this group, and I can't answer it because I don't even know who these people are. Are you Team PETA or Team Gail? I have no idea who these people are. So I'm going to have to end this video with thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. Thank you for subscribing if you are a returning subscriber. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you liked what you saw or heard, and you might want to stick around for more shenanigans of the empty nesters, as we call ourselves. We do a lot of... why do I keep hitting that? I am so sorry. We do more here than just diamond paint. Diamond painting just happens to be my current obsession. So there's a lot of diamond painting content on this channel. But I do some cooking, we do some gardening, we do some running. When I am better, we do some amusement parks and whatnot. So it's just pretty much shenanigans of the empty nesters. And we would love to have you join us on our adventures. So until next time, everybody, have a